So a couple of years ago, I was lucky enough to attend Zythos Beer Festival in Leuven, just outside Brussels in Belgium. And one of the things I made a mental note of, it was the distinct lack of stout and dark, really dark ales. They had the Dubels, they had some, some bigger Belgian beers that had a bit more depth of malt character to them, but nothing along the stout lines. So this one caught my eye straight away. So we're going to go with Monksland, which is a Belgian stout from Widestreet Brewing, up next. Hey, welcome back to Views and Brews. I am Brendan, and this is Widestreet Brewing's Monksland Belgian Stout. It's not a style that I would normally associate with Belgian breweries, but of course they do make stouts themselves. I just haven't had too many. I can't even think of the last one that I did have, but we're going to crack this one open and we were given this glimmer by the brewery, and we were given this beer by the brewery as well, so full disclosure. And also the brewers are really good friends, so I'm not going to knock this one unless it absolutely is terrible, which I doubt it will be, because Widestreet Brewing just don't make bad beer. Anyway, let's get it into the can and let's talk about it. I'm going to bring this one up here closer and we can have a see what the pour is like. So pouring the beer, there is a bit of a brown sort of twinge to it. Sort of dark amber, chestnut, mahogany colours coming out of the can. I'm going to get it all in. I'm noting that I can hear a hiss. So I'm expecting some kind of depletion of head on this one. Anytime you can hear the hiss of a beer, that's the foam fizzing away a little bit. It's 5.2%. It's one of Widestreet Brewing's few beers that doesn't have any mixed fermentation going on, or wild yeast or Brett character. It's just got, as far as I'm aware of, it has primary fermentation with Belgian Abbaye Yeast. I can smell roastiness coming from this already. Yeah, malted barley, hops, water, yeast. It does say it has 5 different Belgian malts in it. Belgian Abbaye Yeast, and yeah, it says pour carefully and mind the sediment at the bottom. All of Widestreet Brewing's beers are can conditioned. They are the first can conditioned beer company to exist in Ireland, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's hold this up a little bit here, have a little look at that. You may not be able to see this, but I can see at the darker edges, at the edges of this beer, I do get twinges of coloration. At the thinner part of this Willy Belcher glass, I can get some deep sort of mahogany chestnut colours coming through. So we're not pure black. There is even some really coppery looking colours right on the outer edges. The beer looks fine. There's a nice staying light tan head on it. And it is sticking around, although it is fizzing. So beautiful nose, some esters coming off the top of this beer as well. I'm getting things like raisin and fig and prunes. Maybe a bit of brown sugar. A nice bit of the Belgian Abbaye Yeast esters coming off of this, intermingling with the malts. Really nice. Anyway, cheers, sláinte, and let's give this one a go. Okay, so we have a medium to medium light body in this beer. It seems to have quite a lot of drinkability to it. It's 5.2%. Drinks in and around the 4.5% mark in terms of the body. The mouthfeel is crisp, drying. There's a slight bit of ashiness coming through on this beer. In terms of the mouthfeel, again, it's sort of effervesces very slightly, which plays into that light fizzing that you get going on in there. It has it has a little sweetness to it as well. It is a stout for sure, and there are some esters coming off, and they're more like the dark fruit esters that you get in Christmassy type theme to it. Not really specifically like Christmassy notes to it, but it does have a little bit of a twinge of estery, figginess, brown sugar, raisin, a bit of prune coming off of it. We'll have a look at that a little bit more. The head is just spinning away, and yet when I give it a quick spin, it keeps coming back up. Just at the back of my palate now, I'm getting a bit of ashy notes to the beer. Look at that head on there, fantastic, it has come back. I always say about any stout I have, anything under 6%, the head is just going to slowly trickle away. Yeah, there's an ashy note to this beer. On the nose, it has a little bit of cinder burnt, a twinge of Coca-Cola coming off of it as well, which I found interesting. There's something else, I'm just trying to pick it out in my head now. It is definitely, the aromas are definitely esterified, if you like. So there is definite aromas coming off of that yeast, but they're also mixed in with the malts there. They're Belgian malts, 5 of them. Yeah, it's just a really nice estery, malty, slightly roasty, slightly toasty, and like dark fruits and a bit of sugar coming off of the nose. Really, really nice. What I'm finding really interesting about this beer is it says it's a Belgian stout, that's grand, but when you actually look at the beer close up, you can see quite a bit of clarity going on through the beer. And I'm holding up to a side light that I have, and there's some rich, dark ruby colours coming from the beer. So it's not quite as dark a stout as you might think it is, just looking at the camera there. I am definitely getting some red coloration. I'm not sure if where you can see that from here, but there are some sort of coppery, dark red ruby notes coming off of it. Depends what light you put it into, but it's not jet black, but yet you're still getting a kind of like an ashen roastiness to the beer. Very, very easy to drink this beer, really, really is. I think this is the kind of beer, and I do say this a lot about stouts of any ABV. I always prefer them on draft. I feel like this would be even better on draft than it is packaged. I always find that the head just does disappear on anything below 6% when it's a stout, because you've got those highly acidic malts. They're eating away at the carbonation. As it sort of comes to the top, you can just continually hear a light hiss to it. There is a bit of ashen going on in this as well. I'd like a little bit more deep, rich, fruitier character, but at the same time, there's huge amounts of drinkability to it. Very, very easy drinking stout, and really nice nose on it. The way I would describe this in one word is like raisiny. 2 words: raisin, ashen. Just when you finish the sip of the beer, you forget about the beer, and then all of a sudden this little bit of ashy note comes into it. I quite like that, but I think I'd like a bit more depth of body. I'd like to see this at somewhere in the 6.5% range, with a bit more fuller body to it, and I think it would hold on to those darker, roastier notes a bit better. but still very nice beer, very enjoyable. Widestreet Brewing Company, check them out. They are absolutely right on the forefront when it comes to their mixed fermentation, their wild beers, their Brett beers. They've got house saison as well. You're looking at real cutting edge brewing stuff from them. Yeah, that's my view on this brew. It's just a really nice, easy drinking Belgian version of a stout. A little bit ashy. For me, a little bit light on ABV to hold those roastier malts, but still a nice beer. Cheers, sláinte, and it's on to the next one. Bye bye.